Depression, the sad truth about the wealthiest nation in the world. More than 17 million Americans suffer from clinical depression. And that's just ages 18 and above. Over 7 million adults 65 and over are experiencing this condition. These are just people who are diagnosed. There are many people that are walking around feeling depressed without a diagnosis. And those that are not quite clinically depressed, but they have kind of a lower grade depression that makes them functional but not very happy. Dysthymia, it's also very common in children as well. And we also know from studies that depression has comorbidity with other clinical conditions and a high relationship with suicide. So most people who commit suicide are depressed. Most people who commit suicide can be helped. Those that have survived suicide attempts admit to be glad that they didn't implement a permanent solution to a temporary problem. So clearly a bleak picture of the mental health of the wealthiest people in the world. And now we know celebrities, beloved celebrities, who entertained us and made us happy, that have taken their own lives away in the last year or two. That just kind of shocks everybody. How is that even possible? So it begs the question of how many people are experiencing depression without us ever knowing about it, or they're functional, they go to work, they do what they need to do, and we have no idea of the darkness that they experience. So most depression is being treated when diagnosed with medications. For a lot of people, the medications do not work. They do not work as expected, as well as needed, or at all. Often, the medication dosages need to be increased over time as the body develops tolerance to it, and the person starts to feel disempowered, dependent on a medication to feel better. Many do not tolerate the side effects very well. So are there other options for people who are depressed? So it depends who you ask. I have a degree in psychology, but I'm also a life coach. So I have a lot of training as a life coach. And I have experienced 2 major bouts of depression in my life. One in my early 20s that lasted maybe 3 or 4 years. They were practically unbearable, and I doubt that anybody really knew about it. I've heard from a good friend of mine who once I told him, hey, I'm just like, I used to be really depressed back when you knew me, and he was like, what? I had no idea. I'm like, yeah, that's because when I'm depressed, I'm at home and I'm hiding out and I'm in bed and I don't take a shower and I don't want to go outside and I don't want to talk to anybody. So naturally, you have no idea what I feel, because the only time you see me is when I feel better. And another major depression episode, well, maybe I've had 3 altogether. That was in my late 20s, early 30s, when I was going through college and I was a full-time student, had to work full-time, and it was just a lot of work and responsibilities and uncertainty and not enough time to take good care of myself. I tried to go to the gym, but really my time was so limited. There were many circumstances that kind of piled up, including not enough sleep, having to survive for 2.5 years on maybe 4 hours of sleep a night. It took their toll. And if you look at pictures of me from that period, I wear all black, my hair is all black. I often have my headphones on. I just basically didn't want to interface with society the way a normally adjusted human being would. And it's amazing that I made it through without major incidents. And I feel bad for the people in my life who knew me then, who might have thought that something was weird but couldn't quite figure it out. Maybe they wanted to help, but they didn't know how. And then I had my third major depressive episode. This is when my brother passed away a couple of years ago, and it put me out for a good year and a half, and it was pretty extreme. By then, I had already acquired many skills to pull myself out of that depressive situation, and with the help of all those skills, it only lasted a year and a half. It could have been a lot longer than that. It wasn't easy, but knowing what to do and doing it made the difference. So today I'm here to hopefully empower some of you and motivate some of you who may not be feeling well, and consider yourselves depressed, whether you are clinically diagnosed or not, whether you're on a medication or not. There are things you can do. These are things that I have done. These are things that I recommend to my clients when they come for coaching. So hopefully this will be helpful to you. Take notes, pay attention, and hopefully you'll find energy within yourself or support from others that you can help yourself and hopefully give up the medications and make this make depression a temporary experience rather than a prolonged one. So for one, sadness is a natural human emotion. It's a universal human emotion, meaning people all over the world, different cultures, different places, experience sadness. It's the natural emotional response to circumstances that require you to feel sad. If you cannot feel sadness, something is wrong with you. So if you lost a loved one, a pet, lost your job, any kind of a process that needs to be grieved, should be grieved, and sadness is part of that process. It's how we digest the experiences that we know we're no longer going to have because they're gone. Sometimes we're sad for others. We see how things are happening to other people. We sympathize, we empathize, and we feel their sadness. That is natural. Feeling confused is natural. Feeling disoriented is natural. Feeling like the uncertainty is too much is natural. So there is nothing wrong with you. There is this crazy, almost a misperception now, and it's probably because of social media. I wish somebody would do the study and figure it out, how people posting the highlights of their life on social media creates an artificial world of happiness and sparkles out there. So those who don't feel that happiness and sparkles feel worse in comparison. But that's not reality. So looking at what's happening to others and how things look like from the outside to others does not give you an accurate picture of what others actually feel and experience. So don't compare your particular situation, your particular mood to others. Talk to people. That's how you would know better. Talk to a therapist, talk to a coach, talk to friends, talk to family members. Share your experiences, and you'll find that what you're experiencing is common. Somebody has felt it before, feeling it now, and someone's going to feel it tomorrow. So knowing that what you are going through is normal, just that is helpful. Just that knowledge is very helpful. So I often normalize the situation for my clients when they come in and say, oh my God, my partner and I are splitting up. I'm just like, I feel devastated. I don't know what to do with myself. They might feel shame. They might feel fear for the future. And basically they're depressed because all that brings them down. And I normalize it to them. I tell them, yes, I hear that often. And yes, I've experienced it myself. By normalizing it, you realize you're not alone. You're not alone, and that doesn't make you a bad person just because you're having these life circumstances or you're feeling these feelings. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you or that you're a bad person. There's like the judgments are shed by normalizing a situation. Then the other thing I tell people is, yes, there are things you can do for yourself. There are 3 areas you can focus on. You can focus on your physical body, physical experience. You can focus on your mental space, the meaning you give to things. And you can determine where to place your focus, basically. So physical body, mental state, and where your focus goes can almost immediately alter the experience in the moment. So even people who are very depressed, when I sit them down and I ask them, out of a 24-hour period, how many hours are you depressed? And the first thing that comes out of their mind is they'll say, all the time. I'm like, well, that's not possible because you're sleeping probably 8 hours, maybe even more. Some people require more sleep. So let's say you're sleeping 8 hours, that leaves 16 hours. So you're not depressed all the time. Let's see other times when you're not depressed. So let's, like somebody tells a joke. Do you laugh? Yes. Well, at that moment, you're not depressed. So I help them realize that depression is not suffocating their life in the way they think it is, pervasive into all moments of their experience. Maybe they go on a walk outside and they see something beautiful and it inspires a moment of awe and appreciation. That moment is not a moment of feeling depressed. And if I can help people look for these moments in their life, perhaps their dog does something cute or their cat does something cute, and for half an hour they're playing with their pet, just completely enjoying it, even though the overall feeling of their existence at the moment is depressed. For that half an hour playing with their pet, they're actually enjoying that. So I help my clients to be very vigilant and harness those moments and really soak them up. And that will balance out the view of how depressed they are. Now, if you have a chemical imbalance in the brain, even in those cases, some of the strategies I'm sharing with you today can help you. So there's a little bit of a difference between biological reasons for your depression, like chemical imbalance or head trauma or PTSD, or if you're looking at circumstantial reasons for your depression, such as losing your job, losing your house, somebody dies, huge misunderstanding and a fight with a friend, and you've gained too much weight, you had a stroke. That's a comorbidity condition. Sometimes people having stroke, when they come back from stroke, they feel depressed. A lot of them, like huge percentage of them. Other things like you have cancer, you're going through chemo, you're going to feel depressed. You're facing death in the eyes, wondering whether or not you are going to survive. Of course, that's a depressing situation. And on top of that, you feel like shit because you're on chemotherapy, you're doing radiation, you're helpless, you're sick all day long. So yes, you will be depressed. So depression that's a circumstantial depression can easily be helped with the skills that I'm giving you, but also biologically based depression can help you. You can help biologically based depression with some of these tricks that I will share today. So the first trick is focusing on the rare, you consider perhaps rare, positive moments in your life and really mindfully soaking them up and stretching them out. So sit out there watching the sunset for an extra 5 minutes. Chat with a friend over coffee for an extra 20 minutes. Turn on the TV and you're watching something funny, laugh your heart off. So really start noticing these moments and stretching them out and counting them, and you'll realize that the feeling of being depressed is not all the time, and that in itself is empowering and gives you a step up in your recovery process. The next thing I tell people is control your mental state. So the meaning you give to your experiences determines how you feel about the experiences. So if you think that someone's out to get you, your confirmation bias tendencies are looking for proof that that is the case. So no matter what this person does, you're going to interpret it like, oh yeah, they're out to get me. So being generous in the interpretations that we choose is important. Looking for other explanations. Does this mean I'm crazy, or that means that I'm confused? Confused and crazy is two different things. Does this mean that I'm a bad person or that I'm a little lost? Those are two different things. Is this person there trying to offend me? Or are they just doing something that they always do and they're completely oblivious of the effect they have on others? So this is not really about me. It's really about them. So controlling your mental state also includes things like, am I going to get up in the morning at 6, 7, 8, 10, or never today, right? You are in charge of that mental space. So when dark thoughts arise, the next strategy is shift the focus to the positive experiences, the ones you counted yesterday, and the things that bring you joy, like your pets, like your kids, like your walks. Shift the focus maybe towards your art. If you're a crafty, artsy person, let the dark thoughts exist. You can't really stop them. If you try to stop them, they'll persist. But you can shift your focus and dilute your attention from the scary, dark places to something that you enjoy, like your art, like your pet, like your kids, like your job, anything. Shift the focus. Turn on Comedy Central, whatever. Shift the focus when you feel that your mind is darkening. So far, focus on the positive moments. Control your mental state, right? And in the controlling your mental state, how you give, the meaning you give to your experiences matters. And then shift the focus. And then finally, it's your physical state that you can control probably the easiest. Maybe not so easy to keep focusing on something positive. Your mind keeps coming back to something negative. But we know from research that when you're exercising, when you're physically active, your body produces endorphins. Endorphins make you happy. They actually kind of digest and weaken the sadness, the depression that you might be experiencing in the moment. Being in the sun versus cooped up inside with the curtains down makes a huge difference. It's not just the vitamin D that you are getting, but we love the sun. Our psyche and our physical bodies respond well to sunshine and warmth. So control your physical state. What do you eat? How much coffee do you drink? If you're very depressed, you shouldn't be drinking very much coffee. Unfortunately, it's where people go because they feel like they're down and they need something to pick them up. So they go coffee and sugar. But those things actually bring you down again. You can't sleep very well. If you can't sleep, your depression will worsen. You have lots of hours at night where you can contemplate all those reasons why you're depressed and just keep running the tape in your head, making yourself worse and worse. So definitely you need to sleep. When you don't sleep, your body aches. The aches don't make you any happier. So Stop the coffee, stop the sugar, eat healthy. Try, at least try. You don't have to, like, some people are able to just overnight completely transform their eating habits. But maybe just give up the coffee and the Coke and replace it with green tea and fresh squeezed vegetable juice. Just do little things. Once you start doing things for yourself and you feel successful, you build self-efficacy. Self-efficacy makes you feel confident and empowered, which is the exact opposite of feeling depressed, taking medication, and being disempowered by the experience, right? So little by little, you can pull yourself out of the hole that you are in by being proactive and willing to do these things. And then in the way of maintenance, I teach yoga. I'm a big proponent of yoga for physical and mental reasons. The gentleness of the exercises, the deep breaths, these are all de-stressors and mood elevators, right? You feel good in your body, you feel good in general, mentally as well. It helps you with your focus, it helps the chatter disappear. So learn yoga, practice yoga. And I'm not saying go to a crazy yoga class that they make you stand on one finger upside down, but do a gentle class. Do something easy but pleasant. And now, yes, you'll be out there with other people, so that's a positive experience. You'll have a good time. Often in yoga classes, people use essential oils, things smell nice. It's just a relaxing, nurturing, pleasant atmosphere if you pick the right yoga class. Don't go to a Bikram class where you're going to be sweating and being yelled at all the time. That's not going to help you very much. So find a yoga class, learn how to meditate, how to develop mindfulness. Mindfulness can help you sort through the chatter and the bullshit in your head that is enhancing your depressed state. You can recognize your patterns, your thought patterns, and go, oh shoot, I'm going down the deep end. I better pull away. You can also recognize the layers of things. It's like, I'm not feeling good in my body. Oh, now I'm feeling old. Oh shit, now I'm depressed, right? You go, okay, I'm not feeling good in my body, period. I'm going to yoga and I'm going to feel better in my body. And so you don't go down the rabbit hole too far when you're mindful, because you can notice where you are. You can pull yourself back by choosing the right options for yourself. So we don't need to be medicated in the numbers in which we are medicated in. Not everybody who's depressed should be medicated. Not everybody who's depressed that should be medicated needs to be medicated for the entire life. So we can play with the nuances there. So maybe a few people absolutely need to stay on antidepressants for the rest of their life. And like people that have bipolar personality disorder or some other kinds of conditions that simply have to be medicated. Those are few and far in between. Majority of the people want an easy way out. I feel like shit, give me a pill, a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, another comorbidity. About 20% of the people who are depressed also abuse alcohol, and another 20% of the people who are depressed also abuse other chemicals, so drugs, right? And then look for holistic solutions. Look for what can help you. Maybe you have some strategies that you already know help you. You have a club you like to participate in. You like to go golfing. You like to go dancing. Do the things you know you enjoy, even if you feel like you don't want to go today. Just keep telling yourself, I don't want to go, while you're driving on the way there. You can do two things at once, right? You can do two things at once. You can bitch about how you feel and drive your ass to where you're going to feel good, like a dance lesson, a yoga class, golf course, friends, party, whatever, right? You can do two things at once. And then once you get there, you'll start feeling better and the narrative in your own head is going to change. I can say more about this, but this video is getting a little long, so I will let you ask me questions in the comments or send me a message, an email. You can find me online, ValentinaPetrovaConsulting.com. Send me an email if you like. And hopefully this was something that you can use and you're willing to use, because you can make yourself feel so much better. I'm speaking from experience personally, and I'm speaking from the observations I've had with my yoga students and my clients over the years. Have yourself a good day, and I will see you next time.